Sean O'Connell Show continues here on your home of the Utes, ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. It is Rivalry Week. Holy War happening on Saturday night at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. We'll have coverage starting 4 hours before kickoff right here with Porter and Trevor and company. And then, of course, Bill Riley, Scott Mitchell, Stevenson Sylvester on the official Utah game broadcast. Time now for our weekly visit with QB number 1, Devon Dampier, Dishin with Dev, brought to you by Culligan Water of Salt Lake City. Experience the Culligan difference. America First Credit Union, Polylift, Concrete Lifting and Piering, and ARUP Blood Services. Give local, save local. Dishin with Dev, Rivalry Edition. Dev, what's up?
Wasn't that much. We're getting ready for the week.
How much do you hate the BYU Cougars right now? No, I'm just kidding.
I was like,
I'm playing.
The tits.
I'm not going to put you in a position to say some bulletin board material. But look, it is Rivalry Week. Does it feel any different in practice? I know every coach, every coaching staff is like, no, we're just going to try to keep things the same. But also it's not the same. It is a rivalry game. Does it feel different in practice so far this week?
Game and preparation-wise, no. We keep, whatever game's up, that's the most important game. Outside of that, though, just the energy and things going into it, yeah, you can definitely tell there's a little something with this game for sure.
All right, we'll get into that a little bit more, but I don't want to gloss over what happened this past weekend. First Big 12 conference win for Utah since joining the conference. You and I talked about that last week. That was a goal that you had. You wanted to get that, I guess it was 0-5 before that monkey off the back. And you all did so, and you did so in style. A dominant win over a really good Arizona State team. Give me your overall impression of how it went, how it felt.
Yeah, I thought, they tried to minimize the possessions that we were able to have, and we basically went 6 for 7 out there just scoring touchdowns. So, that says a lot about our offense to be able to, know those guys are trying to slow the game down, so we took every advantage of every opportunity we had.
It was a dominant performance for the run game in particular, and you had a great day running the football. Now, we've talked the past couple weeks about, how you feeling, how's the health, and you play like you got the poker face, right? You're not going to make an excuse about not feeling good, but clearly against West Virginia to some extent, and then definitely after the bye week, Arizona State, you're back to ideal version of Devon Dampier, elusive in the pocket, and then in those runs, designed or otherwise, you're getting loose. It's got to feel good to have your legs all the way back, if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah, that was something, I was excited to come back to. Just going through that week of practice after the bye week, I was like, man, I feel good again. I'm ready to go score some rushing touchdowns again, and, it happened to all work out for me.
So you got 120 yards on the ground. Running backs always want to go over 100 yards on the ground in a game. How much do you care about that as a QB? Because, passing touchdowns and passing yards are more the thing for QBs, but you're also a running quarterback.
Yeah, I think stats are cool. I try to stay away from the stats, though. Whatever gets that win, that's my main focus for sure. But that is nice that, the O-line and me, just that connection to be able to make those yards work was pretty fun.
Let's talk about the O-line because we expected them all year to be a dominant position group. Pro Football Focus has them as the highest graded offensive line in all of college football right now. I don't know if you pay attention to Pro Football Focus. I don't even know how much I like to pay attention to Pro Football Focus because, there's flaws to the system, although it is a really good system. But at the end of the day, the results are what matter. And almost 300 yards of rushing against a team that came into Rice-Echo Stadium as one of the best rush defenses in the conference. It felt like they were proving a point to some degree.
Yeah, that was our biggest thing going into the game. Our run offense is, something I feel like that's very hard to stop. And just going into the game, we were like, hey, we're going to get tested here, so let's prove to ourselves who we are. And yeah, those boys went out there, and I think they dominated up front for sure.
It certainly looked like it on tape, watching during the game, and then obviously going back and watching a little bit after to try to pretend like we know what we're talking about here. And look, you had a great game. It was nice to see Wayshawn and Akari again having good games. The young freshman starting to get some touches. What do you think of Bray?
Yeah, and Bray's a baller. He's a baller. That's a guy I've been talking to just recently a lot, and he said he was ready for this moment when he got his time, and I'm just happy. He capitalized for sure. He proved himself right.
I mean, I don't know if you can take me back to the first time you weren't at Utah when this was happening, but everyone gets that first opportunity where the coaching staff puts enough trust in you to put the ball in your hands a few times in a game, right? Not just, somebody lost their helmet and has to come out. Like, we have put you in the game plan. We think you can be a weapon for us. And there's an immense amount of pressure on that moment when you're a young player. Because if you make good, you'll probably be part of the plans moving forward. If you don't do well or you fumble or something like that, it could be another year before you get that chance. So do you remember what that opportunity was like for you the first time you got it in college football?
I mean, yeah, mine happened to come, I would say, during camp, to be honest.
Okay.
When Coach Beck came in, this was my first year trying to go ahead and start, be a starting quarterback. So, the things matter kind of right off the bat, how you go to individual drills.
For sure.
Passing just on air, just, everything kind of matters.
They're dissecting everything you do. I mean, your footwork, the way you talk to people, probably every little thing as a quarterback.
Yeah, right. So, when that new staff comes in, everything kind of matters. So that's where I kind of felt that first moment. But, yeah, I mean, got to be ready for those moments. That's what you live for.
Is your arm okay? Because they only had you throw the ball 12 times in this. I think that was a game plan thing, but I was joking with Scott Mitchell about it. I'm like, he was a pass first, pass everything quarterback. And I was like, did you ever only throw 12 passes in a game? Like, would you be mad if you only threw 12 passes a game? I'm assuming the arm's fine. I asked that question facetiously.
Yeah.
But you threw 12, you completed 7.
Yeah, again, I'm big on whatever wins the game. I thought the run flow was, that's what was getting yards, so let's keep it up. I thought we mixed the pass game in the right way. We used it very efficiently, very effectively also. So, whatever wins that game for sure.
42-10 is a big win. It's a statement win. It puts you back in the top 25 against Arizona State, who was, of course, a ranked team at the time. The way it happens, in my opinion, is just as important as how it happens when you get to this point in the season, because we knew that this Arizona State team had one of the best statistical running back in the conference in Malik Brown. He was held to 67 yards on the game. They had the best wide receiver statistically in the conference in Jordan Tyson. He had 8 catches but only 40 yards. When you see your defense, you see your team, you see Smith Snowden have a day like he had against the guy who's going to be a first-round draft pick. And, he's following Jordan Tyson around, and they're trying to feed him, and Smith Snowden and that defense are stopping it. You're the quarterback. How much confidence does it build for you? They're like, oh, man, they're not going to score. We're going to get a chance to do it again. We're going to march down and do this thing. Like, your defense taking away those 2 players in particular was incredibly impressive in this game, and I imagine meant a lot to the offense going back out there.
Yeah, that was very exciting for me. I happened to win the game ball this game, and that was my shout out. Shout out to the defense because that's really exciting. We feed off of that just as they feed off of us. So when you got 2 talented players like you just listed for ASU, and for our defense to hold that standard and hold them to where they did, that was sick. I loved watching it.
So now you get another crack at the attention of Big Noon kickoff. It's odd because it's not the 10 a.m. kickoff, but Fox decided, hey, this is the biggest game we've got on our slate this week. We're going to do Big Noon kickoff. It's not in Salt Lake City. It's obviously down in Provo, but, it's another shot at being on that national stage and having the crew there and the evaluation and all that kind of stuff. I imagine nobody liked the way it went the first time. Now you get a second crack at it. What does that mean?
Again, for us players, just that national television, that's something, that's why we play football. We work to live in these moments, to play in these big games, and, we're happy we got that opportunity. The Big Noon, it doesn't really affect us, though, too much. Football game's a football game, so,
I mean, it does affect you because they're probably, asking you for more interviews and stuff, right? It does
change
your week a little bit.
in that way, yeah, definitely a lot more just talking and things like that. But outside of preparation and all that, it's same game for us.
Devon Dampier, we're dishing with Dev here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Weekly conversation with Utah's quarterback is brought to you by Culligan Water of Salt Lake City. Experience the Culligan difference. America First Credit Union, Polylift, Concrete Lifting and Piering, ARUP Blood Services, Give Local, Save Local. All right, let's focus on this holy war. First of all, what is your history in rivalry games? Who's New Mexico's rival?
New Mexico State.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but those two teams, there's not a did you ever lose to New Mexico State?
When I was there, we lost my freshman year.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. What is your performance like? You can go all the way back to Little League, whoever your rivals. How have you done? How have you handled rivalry games yourself as an individual?
Pretty well. I never overly stressed the moment. Definitely a little bit more motivation into the game for sure. But yeah, just staying poised, staying calm. It's when I thrive to be at my best.
Did you have a high school rival?
Yeah, we did. They're College Chaparral. They lived 7 minutes away from our school.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
What was that rivalry like?
Our school is a lot better than theirs.
Yeah, okay.
For the most part. So
okay, all right.
It was hype, and
Sure.
then you score a couple touchdowns and the crowd dies down a little bit.
Oh, I've been on the wrong side of that kind of rivalry in the past, and it is the worst thing in the world. Everyone's just like, hell yeah, let's go. This is a game.
Yeah, then it starts getting silent. People start leaving.
All right, well, let's talk about this. Utah BYU as a rivalry game here in the state of Utah, and you know this on some level already, it is the biggest day in the sports calendar every year. The stakes in this one are higher than we've had in a while. Going back to the Mountain West Conference, Utah versus BYU last game of the year every year, many, many times it was for the conference championship. It was two teams that were right at the top. Now it's not quite that direct, but they're a really good team, undefeated so far. You all are a really good team, have an opportunity to hand them their first loss, but also to put yourself in a position to kind of control your own destiny for a conference championship. So a rivalry game with stakes like this, I mean, I guess the stakes matter more than the rivalry for you, but what do you expect down in Provo? You telling me off air, already people are kind of like mad dogging you, the BYU fans, so what are you expecting when you get down to Provo?
I'm expecting a loud environment. Again, I know Utah cares about their football teams, whether it's up here or down south. They stick really hard to their team, so I'm expecting those guys to have a packed stadium. We go in there, and it's a rival game. Anything can happen in those games, and just how good the state of Utah is this year with both of us being ranked already. That's pretty fun and pretty huge for this state.
Yeah, by the way, anyone listening, fun fact right now, of all 50 states that have 3 Division I football teams, 3 FBS teams, Utah, BYU, and Utah State combined for the highest win percentage of any 3 schools in any state. Fun fact. Utah is right now the best football state in the union. Let's go, baby. All right, so X's and O's. What is BYU good at that you've seen so far? Because we know defensively that's their strength, but specifically on that defense, where are they most dangerous?
Yeah, I think they're most dangerous with their linebacker. I think they got a very good linebacker group leading the charge, and again, that's kind of the quarterback on the defense. So when you're pretty solid at that group, people tend to feed off of that. So I think they do a good job with their schemes and things like that. So it'll be a fun game to play in for sure.
When you talk about that linebacker group and you talk about schemes, Jay Hill, who's, of course, a longtime Utah football assistant and was a Utah football player back in the day, which is one of the weird things about this rivalry, he has a tendency in some of these games where he will assign a spy, right? He'll assign his best player, his best linebacker, to spy the opposing quarterback. I imagine that has happened to you at some point against some teams in your past. How do you handle that when you know that there's a guy on the defense whose whole job is you?
Yeah, I think I've handled it pretty well. Doing that also, allows less pressure on the quarterback in the pocket, and it's also one less defender guarding people. So, there's ways around it for sure. With my belief in my talents, I believe, if it gets to that situation that, I'm supposed to make that person miss if I decide to run the ball. So, but yeah, I mean, I think they have, again, a talented group over there. So if that's what they roll with, we'll be well prepared.
Do you personally know any of the guys on this BYU football team?
No, I do not. Yeah,
I asked that question because basically everybody else in a Utah or everyone else in this game, to some extent, has a connection to someone else on the other side.
For sure.
Either recruited them, coached them, played with them, whatever. It goes both ways, right? A lot of people have they've worn red and blue on both sides of this rivalry. You, and there's plenty of guys, I guess, but no one else that plays quarterback. Like, you are insulated from that on some level. The intensity of it, the conversation, the emotion of it. Like, I know you understand it like as a player, but you don't have the deeply personal connection to it that some people do. Is that an advantage here, you think?
I wouldn't say it's an advantage. I've definitely talked to a couple people, John Henry and Logan. Two people I definitely talked to, just how they feel about the game and things like that. And, they gave me an understanding of how deep this game is to them. So, I mean, that's kind of the energy, I'm able to feed off of people that's really down and know what's going on between here. I definitely, I'm aware of what's going on for sure.
Has Coach Beck said anything about it? He's a pretty even-keeled guy, and obviously this is the first time he's worn red in the rivalry. Has he said anything about the significance of it on like his emotional level or his personal level?
Yeah, he just let me know. Yeah, this is a big game to the state. Yeah, it's a big game. It's definitely red or blue for sure.
I mean, there's only so many ways that you can process that or say that. It's like, all right, it's a rivalry game. It's huge. I get it. Now let's go out and do it. So how do you have to attack a BYU team that is, like we've talked about, really solid defensively, especially that front seven, especially those linebackers like you're talking about? I mean, look, like I said, you proved the point against Arizona State, and they're a really good rush defense. Can you do the same thing to BYU?
Yeah, with my confidence in my team, I think, if we decide to run the ball, we decide to go to pass game, coach is going to pick the best option for us. And, I think we execute at a high level on our offense. So I believe, whoever we're going against, we're going to perform at the level that I know we can. So, yeah, I mean, especially with them, again, they're a great team. So the mistakes need to, not be as much, need to sharpen up the little things, and that'll win you football games.
What are those little things that you want to sharpen up still? I mean, you're halfway through a season now, 6 games in, and a lot of the goals, we talk about this every week, but a lot of the goals that you gave me before you had taken a snap, protect the football, high completion percentage. We didn't really specifically talk that much about third down, but you guys are the best third down offense in the country right now. You've got the highest completion percentage in the conference right now. Your touchdown interception ratio is excellent. So you have done some of that fine-tuning, but what else is there to do?
I mean, everything you named, I always feel like I can be better. Yeah, I'm one of those guys that's I'm almost never satisfied with a game. I always look back and just always about 5-6 plays. I'm like, man, because it's a different result could have came out of that. And
sure.
So just being more dialed in and just making better decisions for sure.
Give me an example of that from an Arizona State game where everything went pretty darn well for this offense, right?
Yeah.
And it's good for people to hear that you're not satisfied, right? But give me an example of the Arizona State game, what you're talking about. Like, I should have cut this way instead of that way. I should have put the ball on his front shoulder instead of his back shoulder, whatever it is. Is there a play that stands out in your mind from Arizona State?
Yeah, there's about like 3.
All right, give me what those are.
I could have had an early pull read, just reading the end. He chooses the running back or me, and, I happened to hand the ball off. We got a yard. If I would have kept it, we probably would have got, 10, 15. So just things like that. It could have been more efficient that way. I had a pretty turnover-worthy play. Down Bentley, he definitely helped me out there, played DB for me out there to prevent that. But, yeah, just, making smarter decisions out there with that ball. And also had one where I, scrambled out the pocket. was able to get out and just missed the throw. So just things like that. You wish like, okay, let me be more dialed in when those situations come up, and always be better.
It is a road game, but it's a road game where you got to drive an hour instead of getting on an airplane. What is the schedule? What is the routine for Saturday and I guess Friday? You guys bust down there and stay there on Friday night? Or are you sleeping up here? How's it going to work?
Not fully sure where the location is, but I think we're just staying up here.
Okay, all right.
I think we're doing our normal hotel where we're at, and then we'll drive up there, treat it like kind of like an away game still.
Okay.
Go from the hotel and go there.
Does that affect you at all? Like, some people don't sleep well in a hotel bed, and some people, I can sleep anywhere. I can sleep standing up. So that doesn't bother me. Like, for you personally, does that part of the game week experience affect you in any way?
No, not at all. Not at all. The hotel. Yeah, I'm just like you. I sleep fine.
Yeah.
Anytime. So nothing really too much really affects me.
Devon Dampier for another couple minutes here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Dishin with Dev, brought to you by Culligan Water of Salt Lake City. Taste the Culligan difference. ARUP Blood Services, give local, save local. America First Credit Union and Polylift, concrete lifting and piering. So the mock drafts have started to come out. And Spencer Fano is the number one offensive lineman in these mock linemen in the country in these mock drafts. Caleb Lomu,
as he should,
is I think Mel Kiper said he's number 4 among offensive tackles, which in the last 3 or 4 drafts is still a first rounder.
Yeah.
There's been 2 years ago there were 9 offensive tackles taken in the first round. So those guys have lived up to the billing so far. The interior offensive line has been right there. You mentioned John Henry Daly and Logan Fano, JHD especially. He's been absolutely incredible. When you see your guys that you've put all this work in, right, getting the recognition, and you're getting some yourself, obviously, but getting the recognition for that work, and it's starting to pay off. I know you got to pay attention to the games and the game plans and stuff, and some guys insulate themselves from all that during the season. But is it gratifying to know that the hard work is being noticed?
Yeah, for sure. I always find my time, especially the guys you just named and a couple other players. I always remind them, you're doing a heck of a job. You're putting yourself in a really good position. Keep it up. I know you're all about the season, but you are doing your stuff outside of this. So just keep that up. I always make sure I congratulate those guys because that's huge. You want to make it to that next level outside of college football. So the fact that they put themselves in the right direction. They had full control of the situation they're in right now. So huge congrats to them always.
Will you be out there? Will you talk a little extra trash on Saturday because it's BYU? Utah fans want their players to hate the Cougs, and Cougs fans want their players to hate the Utes. And we all want this game to be fired up and a little bit crazy. And quarterbacks especially, you can make yourself a legend in a game like this. But will you be any different against BYU than you are in every other game?
I'm more of a silent assassin.
Okay.
I get talk trash almost every game. I tend to not say too much. I let my play do my talking. That's normally how I roll. But emotions is a thing. So we'll see what the vibes are out there.
Who has talked the most trash to you so far this year? You're halfway through. Who's been the loudest player on the opposition?
Tech. They had a weird way of talking trash to me. They're saying good job when things were going bad, so I definitely stung the chest a little bit.
Oh, I hate that.
They would tackle me and be like, "Good job, bro." I was like, "All right, bet."
Oh
bad.
No!
I said, "All right, we'll see you on the conference championship."
I hate that so much because it's kind of a clever way to talk.
Yeah,
trash.
for sure.
Oh.
For sure. So
I like what you just said, though. We'll see it. We'll see how it goes in the conference championship.
Yep. They know it. I talked to all their players. I was like, hey, I got us today. I got us. Respect.
All right. So, I know there's a lot of work left to be done, but is that something you foresee, you versus Tech in a conference championship game, if everything goes right?
However it plays out. But, I got full belief in my team that, we're going to get to that stage. Big
one on Saturday in Provo. I love the vibe you have around it right now. because we've seen it all up and down, right? Guys that are too amped up, guys that don't seem to appreciate or understand how much this means to the state. I feel like you're right in that Goldilocks zone where you get it, but you're not going to let it like become too big of a thing in your head.
Yeah, for sure. Again, football game is a football game, but I know what this means to the state, so I'm gonna make sure the red versus blue.
Have you got your first 10 scripted yet or anything? First 15 plays scripted yet?
Not yet. What is it, Wednesday? Yeah. Still just finding out plays right now.
Okay.
Seeing what plays we really like going into this week. Making those, a lot better, more consistent. And, normally that's Thursday, Friday kind of thing.
Okay.
Into it.
Do you script 10 or 15? How many plays are scripted right off the top for you guys?
I don't know. It also depends on the game.
Sure.
Different teams, they switch up their defense more often.
All right.
Also, the vibe of the game can change just like that. You hit a big play, then it's like, oh, okay, no need for the script anymore.
Sure.
Let's go and let's just call plays. So it switches every once in a while.
Have you this year so far, or maybe even going into this week, has there been something that you're like, we have to run this? Coach, let's put this in. And we asked Coach Beck, and he said, no, it's collaborative. Dev knows what works and what doesn't work, and so we talk about all that stuff. Has there been anything that you've seen the tape of an opposing defense and been like, Coach, I need this right off the bat, right off the top. Let's get after it.
Yeah. That's what our Mondays are for.
Okay.
Our Mondays get to go over the opposite team's film and things like that. So, and I feel respected by my coach that he respects my opinions and what I like to run. So he definitely finds his way of putting it inside the playbook of what I like also. So
all right, well, go get this win on Saturday. We'll all be down there. Everyone in the whole damn state's going to be watching
for sure.
So go and have another one of those games like you did against Arizona State. All right.
Yeah, you know it.
That's Dishin with Devon Dampier, Utah's starting quarterback, getting ready for his first Holy War rivalry game against BYU. That'll be Saturday night at LaVell Edwards Stadium. You can hear it all right here on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM.